I'm I'm on the Jamaica Flushing border. Yeah. And you're in Kansas City, right?
Yeah, yes.
So are you in Kansas City, Kansas, or Kansas City,
No, Kansas City,
Missouri?
Missouri. Yeah.
Right. There's a big
I
difference.
always explain that to everybody because, well, at least you know the difference.
There's a big difference. I think the Kansas City music is from Missouri, right?
Well, yeah.
There's got to be a big rivalry, like Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, right?
No, I don't think so. But
a little bit.
Just don't get them mixed up, though. People correct you.
That's why I asked right away.
Yeah, if you ever come to play there, be sure and remember which one you're in. The venue.
I don't want to. Well, you can't go wrong if you say, "What's up, Kansas City?" Right?
Yeah, just leave it at that.
Just quit while I'm ahead, right?
Yeah, that's right. Unless somebody just come up and ask you which one.
Yeah. I wouldn't mess that up. It's like Brooklyn and Queens, it's like we're next door neighbors, but they're two different worlds,
Yeah. So JJ, so we just I looked over your website, so not any hard questions or anything, just about your so you got a new CD month.
April 9th, 2 weeks.
Oh, just 2 weeks.
Yeah. 2 weeks. I'm real excited about it. It's great. It's my fourth CD.
Yeah. And so we just gonna talk about, here. So what Berklee School did you go to?
So the music school is in Boston, and it's Berklee with like an L-E-E, because the guy who made the school was named Lee Burke.
Oh.
And a lot of people confuse the California one, which is a state school.
Okay.
And they actually have nothing to do with each other, but they sound exactly the same. So people always kind of put them in the same group.
Yeah, because when I was spelling it out, I was saying, hold on. I was like, I've been spelling this wrong all this time. I said, I'm gonna have to look at that because I just remember.
It's sort of like Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas.
But sometimes they have schools and they have an outreach program, because one's on one coast and the other one's pretty close to the other coast. So.
Absolutely. And my daughter went to St. John's University in Queens, but there's also one in Manhattan and there's one in Staten Island. So there's yeah.
I just always think about the basketball team.
Well, that's the basketball team. You know it.
Yeah. So then we talk about your tour and what else? Oh, some of your. Well, we know we're not doing tours, but
okay.
Hello, Kansas City and the KUAW listeners. This is Professor Smooth Jazz of the Smooth Jazz Show on KUAW every Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., and on Fridays, 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Today, we have a distinguished guest, JJ Sansaverino, New York guitarist, multiple Billboard-charting singles with 3 highly acclaimed CDs over the past 25 years. Hello, JJ. Say hello to the Kansas City audience.
Kansas City, what is going on? And Ricky, God bless you, my brother. Thank you for letting me join you in your precious time today.
Oh, well, thank you for taking the time for me to interview you and let the KUAW listeners listen to this great guitarist. So, JJ, did you start out playing guitar? When did you start and interested in music?
Well, when I get asked that question, it brings me back to my childhood, of course, where a lot of inspiration and things begin. And I come from a family of musicians. My grandmother was an opera singer. My grandfather was a well-known doo-wop singer in Manhattan, and all of my uncles were doo-wop singers. So I grew up with doo-wop music as a kid. That's what we heard. And of course, Motown was big, and groups like the Beatles. I mean, there was so much music all the time, and Frank Sinatra and the jazz music. It was just such a significant part of everyday life. And, started playing the violin, and then I moved over to the trumpet, and then I eventually found an old beat up acoustic guitar in the back of a closet. I don't even know how it got there. My mother said that it was hers, but I never heard her play it. And it only had a few strings, and I just started kind of plucking the bass lines on it. And, when you hear music, I just felt like I was in the band, and I would just listen and play what I heard. And I started to learn by ear, and got a few lessons and ended up getting better and playing with bands. And next thing I knew, I was on stages, and that it transformed just like that.
I see you got your New York hat in the background, New York Yankees hat.
Oh, you see it there,
I like the Yankees now. I kind of keep up. I kind of keep up with the Yankees now.
You got
And so, what part of New York? We had kind of talked about. You were explaining to me what part of New York you were from.
Well, we're from between Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. My family in the Bronx, and now I've been living in Queens for probably the last, I'd say 10 or 12 years. And we were talking about earlier about, you was asking me about different kinds of genres of music. And, people always ask me when I'm moving to California or when I'm going to move in it. And I was like, I love visiting places and I love being there, but I just love the 24-hour, as the Crusaders say, I love that street life. I like that you walk out, it's 24 hours, something going on, that whole international feel of people around you. And I just can't move away from that. It keeps me inspired. Being in Manhattan pre-pandemic was different than it is in the last year, of course. But before that, it's like, on a Monday night, we'll head out at midnight, hit the jazz clubs on a Monday night till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Can't get that anywhere else in America. And it's like oxygen for me. I need it to breathe.
I've never been to Queens, but in movies I've heard about it and how the heritage, all kind of like, especially Black heritage.
Oh yeah,
including the music and all different art and all different kind of things. But the movie we were talking about, Coming to America.
Oh.
How everybody knows about Queens now.
I just love that movie. I mean, you know what? For anybody that didn't know about Queens, Eddie Murphy sure put it on the map, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, where else are you going to go look for a queen?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. He walked around, put his finger there, said,
where else?
So I know we're in the pandemic now, but you were on a world tour. Now, how did you get the name Benson meets Santana?
Well,
how did you get the name go?
To answer the part 2 question, Santana and George are my 2 favorite guitarists. Mm-hmm. And they really couldn't sound any different from each other. They're totally opposites. Mm-hmm. But they both their guitar playing always moved me. And especially Santana. I remember it was probably my favorite guitarist when I was little. And I like the soulfulness. And George is just, I still am mesmerized by his playing. To me, he's the quintessential guitarist. And I just love him to death. But, I got that because I like to put a little rock and flavor in it, but I like that smooth jazz sound. I like those genres. And I think they're like colors when you want to have a mood. Sometimes you're feeling a dark mood, sometimes a bright mood, and sometimes you need a little rock and roll to kind of project something. And sometimes you just need that sweetness to project something. So, whatever the moment calls for is what I try to tune into,
Mm-hmm. Yes. And with the Santana, I think I remember one of my favorites, Black Magic Woman.
Oh man, love that.
Yeah. And they had that album. What was it? Back then they had albums.
Was it a
Braxis? I think it had the group members hidden in what was it? We already had to find them in the Lions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we, that's why we kind of remember.
Wait a second. Are you talking to me about albums? You see all these albums right here?
Yeah. I see.
I keep, this is my
Yeah,
album
I
right
remember
here.
that Quincy Jones. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
my
I remember that.
ultimate. That's the ultimate.
Yeah, I remember
And you
that.
see, there's
Oh,
my
yeah,
guy
yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
But you remember what's so great about albums? I try to tell people, when you would buy an album when you were young, you'd have to save up the money for it.
Oh, yeah.
Then you'd go to the store and you maybe you wouldn't know what you were looking for. Remember, you just kind of browse a little bit.
Yeah.
But you could get intrigued by something on the cover, like
Oh,
Ohio
yeah.
Players had some crazy covers, right?
Yeah,
But
definitely.
then you would get it, put it on and get in your chair and you'd open it up and you'd have this whole experience and the inserts, and it just was a beautiful experience. I'm actually going to press some vinyl for my new CD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I love vinyl. I love it, love it, love it. And it really just sounds, I have a whole setup behind me, my turntable, everything. I listen to vinyl every day more than any other, more than the Spotify, more than CDs, of course. I just like the way that needle drops on the wax.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So warm, you know?
Yeah. Talking about going to the music stores, and it seemed as though they didn't play the music as much. So when you went to the music, and like you said, you didn't always know what you were getting, but you look at they have them in order. You go, you flipping through.
And you might hear, and the guy who's in the store working that day, he's going to play what he wants to play.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to hear something like you don't hear on the radio.
Oh, yeah.
And you just get like, what is that? And they'll say, oh, it's this. And then you might buy it. And then next thing you know, you found something new. Discovering music was so different. That's why I'm still so grateful for gentlemen like you who play the music and spread the music and give people an opportunity to hear something maybe they didn't hear before.
Yeah.
You're such a lifeline to us, you know?
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Talking about when you go to the store and they used to let sometimes they have music playing and I remember my brother worked at this record store. It was on this place called Landing, and so I went in. It was a new chocolate milk and Sun, the group Sun and chocolate milk, and so they only had one of each. So what happened was my brother, sometimes I'd say, I'll buy this and I'll buy this. And then if something else was new, he said, well, I get that. And I get, that's how he do.
You would trade after a week or a day or whatever.
Yeah. So I said, well, had you heard this? He said, no, but I saw it come in and they only had one. So I put them on. And so, man, chocolate milk was playing and that bass came in and those horns and everything. Sun, they were, so these people that were in the Landing, some of them were outside, but we were kind of playing it. They started coming in and the people were there, they were asking the guy, hey, who was that? Who was that? And they went to the manager was there, and there were only one copies. So they were getting out, hey, what do you mean? They only got one more. And then it was causing a big commotion. So he came back and he came to me, he said, let me tell your brother. He says, now you're gonna have to take that off because we don't have enough of them and all these people are looking.
Yeah, you don't want to start a bum rush.
Yeah. So then he told me, he said, now the next you can come here and buy, albums whenever you want to, but you can't play them.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
So and pretty soon he took out the turntable, and then they had where you could listen to the music. Had the individuals.
Right.
But my brother, some of my friends, I asked, I said, my brother ever tell you that story? He said, no, he didn't tell me about that story. I said, yeah, I probably got him in trouble.
Those are great times, weren't they? It was the simpler times we lived in, and music was so free,
Oh yeah.
You could really create,
Yeah. And then as I was younger, I really didn't take care of the vinyl music. You were those 45 or, you throw them around. After I got older, man, I was like putting them out, cleaning them off and putting them in the sleeves.
Well, I just gave my daughter a hard time because her boyfriend gave her a turntable, and I was going through my records, which you can see a lot of them down there.
Yeah.
And then in this closet back here, I got all my jazz ones, which go all the way in. But anyhow, I was looking through my records, looking for something, and I was like, "You were in here looking for records, weren't you?" She goes, "Yeah." How do you know? It's because there's a spine on a record. Records go in one way. You line them
Oh
up.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're all like upside down and up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, good
So you
stuff.
gonna have
That's
to-
why I'm so excited. You know, they're not cheap to press. They're real
Oh,
expensive.
yeah.
But I'm gonna do like 100 copies, and
Okay.
I just, and then I'll sell them as like a limited, like 1 of 100, 2 of 100,
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
sign them, and they'll be for those who don't want vinyl.
Yeah.
But I like to keep old traditional things alive.
Mhm.
And vinyl is part of that. It's, and I want to make sure vinyl gets, and the kids, both my daughters, they're really into vinyl. They all buy it, they collect it, they play
Oh,
it.
okay.
So I love that,
Okay. Yeah. Now, how'd you get into smooth jazz?
Well, like I said, I love George Benson. I love Grover
Mhm.
Washington.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember a guitar player named Al Di Meola. Do you remember Al Di
Yeah,
Meola?
yeah, yeah.
Oh, I used to love him too.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing much of, but
Mhm.
I came to a crossroad in my career because I started touring in 1990.
Mhm.
Oh, 31 years ago, I started touring.
Mhm.
And I toured old school touring, a month on the
Mhm.
road, a month home, a month on the
Mhm.
road, a month home. I did that for about 10 years. And after touring and touring and touring, sometimes I felt like a crackhead because I had to sit at home, like staring at the phone, waiting for the phone to ring for the next
Mhm.
tour. Almost
Mhm.
like if it didn't ring, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And
Mhm.
every day, and then it would ring and I'd be like, yeah, yeah. And I didn't
Mhm.
want to feel that way anymore. I wanted to be more in control of my career. So I
Mhm.
said, I'm at a crossroad. I'm either going to be the guy who's the wedding guy, who does the weddings and has the wedding bands and does all of that, or I'm going to be a solo artist. Now, I like to write music and I like to be on stage and perform. So the wedding thing wasn't going to work.
Mhm.
And I decided that I'm not a singer. So the only genre that I could really compete in was smooth jazz.
Mhm.
Because I'm not really a bebop player, and I
Mhm.
don't play the Charlie Parker licks and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So the real smooth, that jazz lane was a little bit out of my league, even though I play some of that.
Mhm.
I like smooth jazz because you can bring all the genres that you
Mhm.
love
Yes.
into an instrumental forum. And
Mhm.
I've always had been doing that anyhow.
Mhm.
So it just seemed only right. And that's why I set my course.
Mm. Okay. Well, I'm glad you have. But so you have shared the stage with some icons like Maceo Parker. Huh? How was
Woo! That was great. That was amazing. And getting to really sit down backstage and talk with him, that was a lot of fun,
Mhm.
So
So
many guys.
did you get to meet the rest of the gang like with James Brown?
Oh man, that would have been great. Maceo, I'll tell you something. He's not a young guy, as you know, but he's
Mhm.
still beyond
He's
funky.
still, yeah, yeah,
He
yeah,
doesn't play.
yeah. So, oh man, you like what? Victor Bailey and Gerald
Yeah.
Albright. Oh, the Brecker. Did you just Randy or did you was you with the Brecker brothers?
I never even got to meet Michael,
Oh, you
unfortunately, but
know.
I had heard him play.
Mhm.
Michael was amazing. They
Yeah.
both are. They both are.
Mhm.
It's a great loss to lose it. It's funny, and Victor was another great loss.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, oh man, I was looking on here. Ricky Lawson, I remember he passed away,
Ricky
but
was
he
a
was
great
a
mentor to
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
When I first started going to California to do my
Mhm.
solo stuff about 10 years ago, I used to play in an open mic band with him. Because
Mhm.
in New York, anywhere you go, there's a lot of open mics. But
Mhm.
I used to do an open mic in Harlem for years with some
Mhm.
really amazing heavy hitters. And I really learned, but they had me, a lot of the songs I didn't know, but I had good enough ears that I could, if I knew the song, I could get around it quickly and learn it quickly on the spot.
Mhm.
So I did a lot of open mics when I went to California because I had that open mic experience. And Ricky was just, he would tell me when something was good and he would tell me when something wasn't good.
Mhm.
And you want people on your team telling you that you're not good at hitting fastballs and you need to work on hitting fastballs.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need him to tell you something you don't want to hear. You need him constructive criticism. He always gave me that.
Oh, okay. Man, and I looked up there. I said, Shaggy, that's Shaggy?
Ooh,
Shaggy Will?
oh, we'll go back Shaggy to the early 90s. Early 90s. Yeah, I've toured all over the world with. So Shaggy is a New York guy too. He's a Brooklyn guy. And you know, we used to do a lot of these reggae shows in the early 90s in Manhattan and Brooklyn. I mean, I would be doing some of these in the dance halls in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. We wouldn't go on stage till 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, man.
Real Jamaican shows, you know? And I really learned a lot about music and watching your back and being prepared.
Yeah. Now, one thing that when I saw that name, and it kind of stood out because that they have a commercial now.
Isn't it great?
Yeah, you see it. And
it wasn't me. So I'll tell you let me tell you a quick story about It Wasn't Me. I was, that came out in 2000. And we had just gotten a call to go with Maxi to go do a tour of Hawaii with Shaggy. Shaggy was signed to Sony Records, but had just got dropped by his label because when they heard the album, they thought it was garbage. They said that it wasn't me. They couldn't understand the song. They thought it was garbage. So they dropped him from his label. But a DJ, just like you, Ricky, found It Wasn't Me on Napster. Remember Napster?
Yes, yes.
And he played the song in Hawaii and it went viral. So when we got over to Hawaii in 2000 with Maxi and Shaggy, the whole crew, we were one crew, it was viral. And we were going to nightclubs. There had 1,000 people in a line down the block just to come into the nightclub that we were at.
Oh, man.
And we toured all over Hawaii and we hadn't even heard the song. So we didn't realize it broke in Hawaii. So we were there when it broke. We got back to America, well, New York. I shouldn't say America. Hawaii is America. And I'm telling everybody about this song. It wasn't me and nobody had heard about it, nothing. And it became a phenomenon and we were kind of part of it. It was fun.
Yeah, I think when that video came out, that he had that video come out with it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's great stuff.
And that phrase, you know, everybody knew that phrase.
Yeah, you know.
So, and I was looking here, Sean Paul, Rick Braun, and the Marley Family.
All the Marley. I worked with all the Marley. I didn't work with Bob, of course, but Marley's, I'm good friends with a lot of them. And I had worked with Bob's wife, Rita, a few times. And his son, Rohan, that used to play football, is a good friend of mine. Kimani, I played with Kimani all the time, another good friend of mine. And Junior Gong and those Steven, they're a great family. And they're really, really special what they brought to the world with the Marley music.
Okay. Now that's oh man, so you also performed for a famous person's wedding?
Oh yeah, you saw that in there, huh?
Yeah. I've been checking on you. That's right.
Woo! That was something else. So when 9/11 happened, we were doing a 9/11 benefit concert at the Hudson Hotel in New York. And a lot of famous people showed up and jumped on stage, including Paul McCartney and with the band. And after Paul McCartney says to my boss, who was the singer, "You guys are fantastic. I want you to play my wedding." And my boss says, "We'd love to. Just give us a call." Gave him his card. And Paul McCartney's people called us a few days later. We go all the way to Ireland and sworn to secrecy. We had to sign all the paperwork. We couldn't talk about it. And there we are in Ireland at the Castle Leslie, performing for Paul McCartney, Sir Paul McCartney, for his wedding to Heather Mills. And it was fantastic. And on the first dance song, my boss says, "What do you give a man that has everything for his wedding?" He says, "I gave him something from my heart. I wrote him a song." So he'd written an original song for the first dance. The first dance also had a guitar solo in it. So while they were dancing on the dance floor and he was singing with the wireless mic, just the three of them on the dance floor, when the guitar solo came up, I said, "You know, I'm wireless too. What am I waiting for?" So I ran out there. And I was about 1 foot from them playing the solo while they were dancing. And I'm saying to myself, this is just going to be one of the greatest moments of my career as far as
Mhm.
this, royalty, musical royalty,
Mhm.
And we came home and we landed in JFK, and Entertainment Tonight was waiting for us, and we started doing interviews, and we were on the Today Show, Good Morning America, all those morning programs. They wanted to know the band had done the wedding. So it was a
Oh,
great experience
okay. So,
and
so,
honor.
so you have this new CD. So how did this come about? For your ideas and the music, putting it together?
Brand new CD. It's my fourth CD. It's called Cocktails and Jazz, and
Mhm.
it's on Intervision Records. Comes
Mhm.
out April 9th. And it's such a special album to me, Ricky, because it's the first CD that I've completely produced, written, and arranged 100% on my own. Now, I've always written all my music, but this is the first one that I produced and did the editing and the arrangements. And, you know, being from music school before the computers, I was learned how to write for orchestras, and I was writing for cellos and saxophones and flute, French horns. So I use all real instruments when I record my album. You're going to get baritone saxophone, alto flute, trombones, trumpets, saxophones, djembe drums, real percussion, real piano, real drumming. And it's very live sounding, but it's so special because it covers so many genres of music, but it still all sounds like under one umbrella of JJ Sansaverino. Now, the concept of Cocktails and Jazz was I've been in the restaurant business my whole life,
Mhm.
and I'm still, up until a year ago, a bartender in Times Square.
Mhm.
I've been a bartender forever, and I have family members who are bartenders, and we had a bar in Manhattan years ago.
Mhm.
Um, so the cocktails are all original cocktail recipes by myself,
Oh,
and
okay.
they're paired with the original song. So, for instance, the song Style and Elegance is a
Mhm.
cocktail and a song. And
Oh,
inside the
okay.
CD is the recipe for the cocktail and a picture of the cocktail. And then
Oh,
you can
okay.
kind of listen to the song and make the cocktail and drink it at home.
Oh,
It was kind of give people a chance to chill at home for the pandemic and
mhm.
have some fun.
Oh, okay. Well, now I'll know the reason why. Because I
That's where it
spun,
comes from.
I think I
Yeah.
spun like two. Am I spinning the second song? I think we're spinning the second song on that CD.
Well, the
Oh,
first single was The Groove Messenger.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
know you were playing that
yeah,
because you've always been very good to me.
yeah.
And Midnight Fizz was second,
Okay,
and
yeah.
Style and Elegance
So
was the third
yeah,
one that went
okay. So
number one.
yes, it's the third one. Yeah. Well, I know it was doing good because
And there's a cocktail for each of them.
okay. Well, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to.
What do you like to
I,
drink?
well, I don't drink.
All right, you like
I
water.
don't drink. But you know what? When you said restaurant, I was gonna. So you can cook. That's what I was gonna ask you first.
Oh man, you better. I've been working on a cookbook for the last 5 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
this album I was finishing, it's finished. The cookbook I'm trying to, it's finished. It's a lot of work. It's an
Mhm.
actual real hardcover book and a lot of work. And I'm in the middle of recording 2 other CDs as we speak.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's just a lot going on and trying to get it all done. And just, I want to share all the creative things that I do and all the things that I love with everybody.
Okay. So what's your favorite recipe, or one recipe that you think you just a master at? Where you go, you know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'll tell you something. My family's Italian Sicilian, and
Hmm.
I love to cook.
Hmm.
And fish is what I love the most, but I love
Okay.
shrimp and I love
Hmm.
fish and all that. So
Hmm.
there's a couple really good shrimp recipes in there.
Hmm. Hmm.
And there's some great red snapper recipes in there,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah. I like that.
chicken. There's something for everybody.
Hmm.
Vegetarian, there's something for
Hmm.
everybody. And if you like it, I'm sure you'll find a take on something you like in there that you're never had before. But also, I'm including some of the classics, like the things that people take for granted, like maybe something as simple as chicken parmesan. There's a
Hmm.
simple recipe for that in there, and
Hmm.
a little section called the classics. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
And I'm glad you brought that up. So I found something else new about you.
It's just gonna be tough if I try to put song titles to the recipes.
Oh yeah, that's
It's
right.
gonna get a little weird, you know.
Well, I played a song by bassist David Dyson called, I think it was called Funk Gumbo.
Oh, Funk Gumbo.
Yeah.
Boy, Dave is a monster. That's my brother, man. I'm really a big fan of Dave's.
Yeah. Yeah. So hey, I was looking at on your website, and I was looking at some of your pictures, some of your pics. Well, yeah, I saw Gerald Albright. Man, Gerald Albright gets around. But was that Matt Marshak?
Yeah, you know Matt? Of course you know Matt.
Yeah. When I saw him, and then you didn't have the name down there, but he was kind of holding his head down. And then what gave it away was his hat. He always wears hats. So I said, that's Matt. I said, and looked like he was growing a beard or something. I hadn't seen him.
Yeah.
When I saw that hat, I said, that's got to be Matt. I haven't talked to Matt in a while.
Matt is a great guy, great musician, writes great songs, and he's a New York guy also.
Oh, that's right, sure is.
So you might not have heard a lot from him lately because he did an Americana album.
Yeah, I played something because
it was real good.
Yeah, I played around Father's Day. I'm an ordinary man or something.
Yeah,
just a simple man.
Simple man, or ordinary man, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I played it around.
I like it.
It was a good song to play around Father's Day.
Yeah, Matt's just got great. Well, you did a great job on it. Just really not like your smooth jazz down the pipe. So maybe that's why people haven't been hearing a lot from him lately.
Well, I didn't play I think I played two, and then he had another song. It was almost kind of like blues country or something. I can't remember the name, but I think it was like about a year and a half ago or something. But usually I'll look him up. See what Matt doing. Let me see what Matt doing. He's been quiet lately.
He's a good guy, man. Next time I talk to him, I'm gonna tell him you were asking for him.
That's right. Actually, I think I met him with Nick Coleon.
Oh man, now you talking about another
here together.
You're naming all the cool guys now.
I call him Nick at Night.
Nick at Night?
Nick at Night, yeah, because I said that's when I think his better performances is when nighttime comes.
You know, Nick is such a dear friend of mine, and he's only given me like so much respect and encouragement, and always brings me to do things in a jam with him. He's like a brother. He's really, for somebody that I haven't known that long, he's really amazing guy, and he's been really good to me. And I really love that guy. He's an amazing dude, and what a performer, man. He's cool, man. Cool like the breeze, you know?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Dresses that way too.
He dresses to the nines. That's true, man.
Man, I mean, Stacey Adams and
Stacey Adams out. The old school swag.
Yeah. I said, man, I haven't seen that name in a long time.
Yeah, man. He's got his shoes, his socks, he's tight and right.
His hat.
Oh man.
So, and another thing I noticed, your headless guitar. I was like, oh man, that is a cool guitar.
Recently I've retired it, I haven't used it in over a year. I had that guitar forever, and I love that guitar, but I have a great guitar endorsement from ESP Guitars, and they sent me some great guitars, and I actually fell in love with them. And the company was so generous to me that I felt sort of like an obligation to really represent and play the guitars. I didn't want to just take them and say thank you, but I wanted to represent. And there's one that I play a lot that I really love, and you'll see it on the cover of my CD. It's a blue guitar.
Okay.
And those guitars sound great. They're really great.
So how can you be reached? If someone wanted to check you out and see what's up.
I'm the easiest guy in the world to find, because there's not a lot of JJ Sansaverinos out there.
Yeah, that's right.
You just put in JJ and start spelling SANS, I'm going to pop up. And, of course, I got a great YouTube channel with all my videos, and Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And, I've been doing, it's tonight. This is great. We're talking, Rick. Tonight is my 1-year anniversary. When the pandemic started, I started broadcasting live from my crib here in New York. And tonight's my 52nd show in a row of JJ Friday Night Live.
Oh,
And
great.
tonight's our 1-year anniversary. And I play for like 2-3 hours straight on Facebook and Instagram. And it's a lot of fun, and play my music and a couple songs people know by, mix it up, and jazz standards. And it's just a lot of fun. So you can always tune in to me on Friday nights. You can see me playing here in New York at 8:30 p.m. I'll be on tonight in New York. So you got to check it out. I'm going to mention our great interview today. So, but yeah, I'm easy to find. Just check me out, and my website's same thing, JJ Sansaverino.
So is it so if somebody wanted to listen in, how would they?
I don't charge any money. It's always been free to the public. Just go to JJ Sansaverino, my page, click on it because it's a public page, and you can just hit live and you'll be able to watch me for free.
Oh, okay.
I wanted to give something back. We did a lot of good work during 52 weeks. There were a lot of lonely people out there that couldn't do anything. And we brought a lot of love to people's homes. And that was a real gift and a blessing for me to do that.
Now, before we go, is there anything else you would like to tell us about?
I just want to say thanks for having me today. And please reach out to me. I'm so grateful to all the radio personalities like yourself, Rick, that are playing music and keeping it alive. Like I said earlier, you guys are the messengers. We create this music and we can press it and we can put it in stores, but you're the one that turn people on to music. So thank you. And thank you to everybody that's supporting jazz music in general. It's so important.
And Mr. Walker at the KUAW the station, he does a old school R&B show.
Hey, Mr. Walker, it's Teddy Pendergrass's birthday today, right?
Oh, wow. No, didn't know that.
Yep. I've got to work up one of his tunes for tonight.
All right.
Problem is, he's got too many good ones.
That's what I was going to say. He's got a very extensive catalog. That's for sure.
Yeah, for real.
I was thinking of one of his songs the other day about Where Are All My Friends?
Oh, man, I don't know that one.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, he did that stuff.
You know what record you'll appreciate this too, Mr. Walker? I was pulled this record out. You guys familiar with this one?
Billy Paul?
Billy Paul, 360.
Yeah, Billy Paul.
Oh, yeah.
You forget about when you put this vinyl on some of these songs, because when you're streaming, you just hear random songs. But when you hear the body of work at one time, it has another meaning to it. You know what I mean?
That was a great album and stuff. I think I still got a copy of that myself, but that was a great album of his. I don't know if that was his debut or not, but the 360 Degrees of Billy Paul, Philadelphia International. They was putting them out there. Gamble and Huff.
1972, this record came out.
Oh yeah.
That's when I graduated from high school.
Yeah. Oh yeah?
Yeah,
too young for that.
And the what was that? MFSB was the house band.
Oh yeah. That's
another Philly.
Father, sister, brother. And I got a couple of their albums.
See who popped up over there? It's Diana Ross's birthday today too.
Okay, I was thinking that looked like her.
Yep, it's
her birthday today also.
Oh, okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to remember that as I kick some stuff out.
Oh, I just love these records. They're so precious to me. They remind me of my childhood. And you just can't get, like these albums, they're just like,
oh yeah.
And when you just look at that wax, I mean, it's like heaven.
Is that that Columbia?
Yeah, Miles Davis round midnight, Columbia Records when he was on Columbia. Oh,
man.
It's
a different world when you can put on that vinyl.
It sure is. But this is a big one right here, Kind of Blue.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But here's a big one here for our girl, Miss Cicely Tyson. How about that one right there?
Oh man, my brother had that. I remember that a long time ago.
Now, are you collecting those original or those redone albums?
A lot of these classic jazz ones, I'll never forget. It was the early 90s. I was in Brooklyn, and somebody was moving out of a brownstone, Fort Greene, and I walked over there, and there was a crate of records, and I must have picked up about 200 records.
Wow.
I mean, I kept taking them, bringing them home, walk back, bringing them home. I kept taking them. And that means that some of these records, I have a lot of records from when I was a kid, but a lot of these I got in that. And it's like a gold mine,
Yeah, because people were just throwing away vinyl.
I can't believe it.
I got a bunch of my brother's albums because he says, well, I'm gonna just get rid of them. I was over to his house, man, just gathering up albums. I'm like, what do you mean you're just gonna get rid of them or something? But in the 90s, there was probably so much vinyl that was just thrown away.
Because they were all about CDs then,
right?
And
everybody was buying CDs and all of that, and then turntables were going out of style. So you lost a lot of good stuff.
When I was a kid, my father used to say, remember cassettes, when cassettes were happening, I used to buy the record and then I would record it to the cassette because then you could bring the cassette with you. Yes. My father would say, why don't you just buy the cassette? Because you can bring it everywhere. I said, because it's not the vinyl. It just doesn't sound as good. It's not like this record, you know what I mean? And
that's what
I'm so glad because my cassettes are long gone.
Yeah, they were mechanical, so you have problems with them. But I bought a lot of.
You'd have to pull the tape out and tape the tape back together. Break the cassette, and oh God, what a pain.
What about those 8-tracks?
Oh man,
8-tracks were no good to me because when you wanted to learn something, you couldn't rewind.
Yeah, that's right.
You remember an 8-track, you could only fast forward. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
And you had programs 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you'd have that big ka-chunk in the middle of a song.
Yeah, none that would help me because I learned. See, with way I learned how to play was you would put the record on, and I would pull the record back, stop, hold it, find it, keep pulling the record back to the spot to learn a phrase. Because there was no YouTube to give you the transcription. You had to learn it by ear.
Yeah.
And records, you could do that was the only way you could do it with records, So I think people that came up with vinyl have the best ears when it comes to learning music.
Okay.
Yeah, you had to listen.
So what about those Yankees?
I think we're gonna have an outstanding year. Woo! Last year was the first year in like 43 years that I didn't go to a Yankee game because the stadium was closed.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to have an outstanding year. We got a lot of rivalry with the Kansas City Royals from the 1970s. Remember? George Brett and those guys. Yeah. So.
Well, I think they got some pitching this year, though.
You can't win a race with just one leg.
Yeah, that's right.
And if you're all offense and you don't have defense, you get in trouble. And it's like football. I mean, like that. You can see that all the time. I mean, like, look at your boy Mahomes this year. He just didn't have this. They wasn't aligned right. You couldn't get it done.
Thank you for taking the time out. I know we were kind of hitting here and hitting there, but we
in a week or so.
Okay.
Maybe 2 weeks. As soon as I have, I'll make sure I get one out to you. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you. And if you ever hear DJ Scatter, you know who that's Mr. Walker.
That's you, DJ Scatter. Rick, because you've been playing them. They're kind of down the pipe, but I try to make them sound good. There's some reggae on there. There's a little bit of something kind of chill. There's some kind of rock on there, but it's got a lot of horns and percussion, and it's a dope record. You guys are gonna love it.
All right. Well,
can't wait for you to hear it.
All right. Well, thank you, and you have a great day. Maybe I get up to Queens one of these days. I'm telling you. Maybe
give me a call. I'll show you where they ran into the subway.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
I'll show you the scenes of Coming to America.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna remember that. All right.
Something over there. We right by something.
Okay. Well, thank you, and you have a great day.
God bless. I'll see you guys sooner than later. All right.
All right.
All righty.
Okay. Bye-bye.